Hello, and welcome to Token Minority Report on Unsafe Space. I am your minority, Beverly J. Clark, and today is Thursday, October 6, 2022. It's spooky out now. Here with me tonight is my co-host, my witch sister in the coven, the Sarah or Mary to my Winifred. No, I think I'd rather be Sarah. I'm going to be Sarah. She can choose whatever she wants. Alex, Miss Sally.
And then I choose Winifred. I think every woman really at her core wants to be Sarah.
Yeah, that's why because at first I thought Winifred, but then Mary, Mary had the, I don't know, but Sarah had the whole free spirit thing that I'm like, I'm not like that at all, but I kind of wish I was.
Well, not only that, but she was actually attractive, unlike the other two.
Yeah, that's true too. I wish I was attractive. So,
the other thing though is that a lot of people would say oh, she's the dumb one, and I'm like, they're all dumb.
Oh, they're all yeah. Hello, Winky. Hello, Caleb. Hello, Tree Surgeon. Hoi hoi. So Alex, how are you doing? Hi, JB. Hi, Wallace.
I'm okay.
Samesies.
My power was out Monday night.
Oh no.
Yeah, really? For 6 hours.
Yikes. Was it crazy hot then? I mean,
it actually, so it went out in July of 2021 and during a storm, and that was insanely hot. That was so damn uncomfortable. But it went out. This is still October. No, this was October, and there was a dust storm that blew through Phoenix and took out the power for 40,000 people. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was not that hot. It could have been better, honestly, but it was not as bad as it was when it went out in July.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess if it's going to go out in Phoenix, the colder months that it gets, at least that's a better time for it. But
yeah, I'd rather go out in December if it's going to go out. But it's more likely to go out in the summertime because that's when everyone's running their ACs and it's storm season.
Hi, George.
So that's when it's likely to happen.
Yeah. Oof. That's rough. I chased a fox into the woods today.
Oh God. Was it going after your chickens?
No, it was coming out. So our chickens are behind the barn or on the sides of the barn over this way. And then we have a field that's over on this side. And I was with the ducks that are out in the fence, and I was taking them out of the pool because they can't get out on their own because they're the little legs and DVD can't walk. And then the geese were walking by, and Chewie did her gasp sound that she makes when she sees danger. So I look over where she's looking, and I just see a fox standing in the tall grass and stuff there. So I just start sprinting after it, and then it turns around and runs. Then it pauses and scratches its head, and then it sees that I'm still running after it, and it continues to run. And I follow it into the woods, and I just keep chasing it as far as I can until it disappears. I didn't know where it went though, but I was like, no, it's gonna, because it or the siblings or children, I'm not sure which one it is, it came here the other day, and my boyfriend tried shooting at it and then went out to see if there was any blood, and then he just saw it hanging out behind the barn again, so it didn't even get scared off either way. So I was just like, no, I'm gonna keep going after you and make sure you don't come. And then I hung out outside for a while. Because I was rewatching all of Scream Queens for this thing. I only watched it a couple months ago, and I powered through and watched it 2x speed or more for a little second. But I watched all 23 episodes or whatever they are. Just finished it beforehand, but I was on my laptop outside, and as I was getting ready, I'm gonna keep watching this while I keep an eye out for the foxes. So
I finished it on Monday, and this was my first watch through, and I watched it because you suggested it, and I am so pleased that you did.
To be fair, Motown had suggested it. I mean, I've seen it in the past. This is my 4th time watching it through, I think. But Motown had one, and he's never even going to watch this stream anyway, but he wanted us to watch it, so we finally did.
Yeah, we get to talk about it now.
Yes, I mean, so we'll start off with the thumbnail one. We'll talk about. Hocus Pocus 2, and then we'll do Scream Queens, and we also have a couple of trailers. Oh my gosh, can't think
They
of words.
are ads. You can call them ads too.
So we're gonna do. I know the Knock at the Cabin. That is a horror themed movie. It seemed, I believe. But then Alex also sent the link of the Super Mario Bros. Official trailer, which I have not watched yet, and I don't care that it's not horror related. I freaking love Mario. Well, Luigi. Yoshi's my favorite, then Luigi, and then we can go into the next ones. But yeah, so I definitely want to watch that.
Okay, so let's talk Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. I judging by you're the one who suggested Halloween cringe for the words on the thumbnail. So I'm going to guess that you did not like the film. I did rewatch the first one. I hadn't seen it in a long time. And so if we could talk about the first one first for a minute.
Yeah.
I'll say that I'm like the only person I know who is like pretty meh about Hocus Pocus. Like everyone else I know has always like they love that movie, and I think I've seen it twice now. I think this was the second time I'd seen it, maybe 3 times. I don't know. Maybe I watched it more and it wasn't memorable, but it just kind of the same with like any other sort of Disney kids movies where I'm like, oh, it's okay, like it's fine. I never understood the hype for it that everyone like that I know has always loved it. And I'm like and I feel weird though because I'm like the only person who is not obsessed with it. So I don't know how you feel about the original.
I'm not obsessed, but I like it. It has like a certain charm to it. Some of its jokes land pretty well. The CGI for the cat face was pretty amazing. Even in
the, it's 1993, so
yeah,
it's silly, but like for that year, yeah.
I mean, it was impressive, and it doesn't really look all that bad actually now because it's subtle enough. But it's like, I wouldn't say that it's like a masterpiece. I also don't have like the cult attitude around it that a lot of people do.
Okay, good.
I grew up watching it and I enjoyed it, and I still like, oh yes, I'll watch this. It makes me laugh. But like,
I was guessing that maybe that like people, I don't know at what age you had it, but I was thinking the people who are really into it watched it like when they were younger, and I don't think I saw it till I was at least in my teens or something by the time I actually had seen it. I don't early like
it came out when I was 6, so
I was like 2, I think. So I don't think I watched it. If I did when I was younger, I don't remember it. So I think that's what at least my friends who I know like it or love it. I think it was when they were young. So I don't know about you, but you watched it when it came out?
Probably. I don't remember the first time I watched it. That's how
early
I watched it. So like, probably it was early. It was probably close enough to when it came out that I don't actually remember the first time I watched it. But so I enjoy it, but I don't have this like, it's perfect, it's wonderful, it's so great, it's the best Halloween movie ever made attitude about it. I don't. I really don't.
Yeah. Okay. All right, good. So then we're on the same page there at least. Because I didn't dislike it, but it was just kind of like any other I know it came out in theaters, but it just was like any other Disney Channel movie to me, really.
Yeah, it's got its like charm, but it's also got some moments that are like, really, like that's just weird and strange, whatever. But some parts of the plot shit doesn't make any sense, and everything. But I was like, well, no, my attitude about it has not changed upon watching it this week. I didn't really see that it was worse or better than I originally thought it was. It's still just okay, somewhat enjoyable film. So that's how I feel about it. But I was like, I'm gonna watch it right before I watch Hocus Pocus 2, because making a sequel, you automatically, or a remake, you automatically force your audience to compare it to the original. And I don't think this second movie really holds up to the original, even with my very lukewarm attitude towards the original.
Keyboard is dead. Yeah, I know and again, it's just I always have like the different takes than I like stupid stuff, I guess, though, because I know everyone is going to disagree with me on this, and I totally understand it, but I think I kind of like the sequel more than I did the original one. And I'll say maybe it's because I like modern films more. I just kind of have a thing where I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that, but so when it's just like newer films, it can aesthetically, it can be more pleasing to my brain. But I'd probably say I don't know the actors' names, but I love Buster from Arrested
Oh
Development,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
love Richard T. Splatt from Veep. But I think those two are really what did it for me in here. I'm like, man, like I want to see them in a buddy comedy film on their own. Like those two together, though. Like I don't even think they had any scenes together in this movie, but like I would love to see them together and just be like awkward, bumbling idiots and stuff. Though, like. So I think that really redeemed it for me. I and I'll say too, I know again, everyone else can hate it. My boyfriend didn't like the ending, but for me, it was just like, oh, they've humanized the sisters, and
I
then like, and they
hated
had.
that.
I know everyone else hate it, but like, I like the cheesy thing. Or I'm like, oh, I actually care more about them now, or like here's in the movie I care about what's going on, like she's sad about this, and like yeah, it seemed kind of weird as someone who was like super mean and stuff, and just hated her sisters forever though, but it was still like, oh, the fact that you're feeling loss right now, like that made me feel more emotionally invested in this movie than I did, because the first one I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, this is happening, that happened. So
I mean,
even
I
though
think
everyone
it's
hates it,
I don't really want to humanize someone who sucks the souls out of children. I,
I get that,
I don't
yeah.
really like care about what problems you have,
I
because
think
I'm sort of like, you literally kill kids. I don't care. It's like Cruella. They tried making that movie, and I'm
I
like, I
never
don't
watched
care.
that
She
one.
wanted to make a coat out of puppies. I don't care. I don't care about what led her to be this horrible person. And
I
then at the same time, that opening sequence of Hocus Pocus 2 with the little girls as the
oh
witches in the
mhm.
colony was cringy as fuck, and also incredibly like, oh, they're just misunderstood and these people want to burn them at the stake or whatever. It was like, I'm sorry, but like no amount of persecution allows you to kill kids.
Right. Yeah, so I guess it's hard for me to like, I'm kind of separating the ideas where like I like the concept of like humanizing the sister and stuff too, but I think they didn't go in one direction enough, where it was like if they really went in on how like, hey, they were misunderstood, that like and like I'd say they probably had to retcon something of like what they had to do with eating children and whatever to
They
like
literally
make them.
still brought that up in the sequel too.
Yeah,
By the
yeah.
way,
So
remember them sucking the kids'
yeah.
souls out? And I was like, you really want to bring that up if you want to make me like them more? Like,
So that's what, yeah, like it was. So that's why I definitely get that. Like, it does not make sense with them, with how they portrayed the sisters and the rest of it. Like, well, how can I sympathize with you when you are just terrible? But I also don't like writing where it's like, well, why? I'm not saying I don't like it. Let me rephrase. I like when there's more to a character other than like, I'm just evil. This is just what I like, understanding the reasons why, because like if you're not just psychotic, and a psychopath though, that like you and something does drive you to do what you do. I like that idea more. But when it's just kind of like, oh, we just want to be young, like that, like and eating kids' souls is how we do that, there isn't really a good way outside of just, like, not being a psychopath, I guess, is for it. So it's what, like, if I detaching from, like, the rest of the story, that end scene, I'm like, "Oh, I do feel sympathy for it," but altogether within, like, the writing of the film, it wasn't good. I just kinda like, "Oh, if they had gone in that direction more and did, like, I guess, like, did a Wicked sort of thing that everyone's doing now."
yeah. Well,
I
the thing is, though, I think you can leave a character flat evil if that story is meant for kids.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, yeah, because they don't need to have the like, well,
Yeah.
why is this bad guy a bad guy? Because if it's, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Because it's more about warning kids away from dangerous people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's essentially what the idea is.
Not
And
to
I'm like,
understand why is this dangerous person doing what they're doing. Yeah, that makes
yeah, I
sense.
mean, I
So I
think
think
it's terrifying to tell kids to essentially talk to the bad guys, see what makes them tick, sympathize with them. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Like,
yeah, and other horror movies do that too. What is The House at the End of the Street with Jennifer Lawrence? That was like one of the first things I knew her in. But her whole thing, like, oh, like she's like a teenage girl who always tries to like fix people, like fix the boys. So she meets the new guy, or like she's
oh, yeah.
new, and she meets the guy at the end. He turns out to be like a murderer or whatever, though. But she had thought so. It's like, don't try and fix people. In the first movie, I kept wondering though, so it's 1993. I know things are a little bit like looser as far as what's appropriate for children and stuff. I mean, Sarah Jessica Parker had a lot of cleavage going on throughout both films. But I just also kept wondering, why does this 8-year-old, the sister, know what a virgin is? Like, she kept talking about how her brother is a virgin throughout it. Like, oh, like he lit the candle, he's a virgin, and just telling everyone about that. Like, why are you so like knowledgeable about this though? I'm not saying that you can't know, but it just seems, and especially in a kids
I,
movie, so again, early
I
90s, but
Yeah, I must have known very early because that's like Hocus Pocus and not remembering the first time that I watched it. I don't remember when I learned what a virgin was.
me either. Yeah, when I was trying to think of like when I learned that term, and I don't know, but I think at the same time I wasn't thinking about sex at 8 years old though, so then I wouldn't have been using that term.
If you have a teenage older sibling, you might
Maybe,
know
yeah.
those words. You might tease them with them too. Like I would, I like,
Without, yeah.
yeah, like it's not. I would say that if you don't have older siblings, you're the first one to learn those things.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you have older siblings, you learn it from them and their friends.
Just hear them
And
talking about it. I can accept that. And my siblings, I mean, they were already 8 years or older than me. And then I didn't grow up with them after I was like 7 either. So it was just kind of like, yeah. And they say too, like psychologically, that if you're 6 or 7 years apart, though, then you would be considered an only child as far as like your psychological development because they're too much older than you, that you don't have that like sibling rivalry and stuff.
which they did both act like only children in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their attitudes were both very only child.
Even though they did kind of push where like I'm your older brother at the like sometime where but it felt forced in those.
Well, honestly, I think it was more that whole thing about, because I felt this way about the parents in the first movie, is that they put too much responsibility of parental responsibility on Max of Danny. They
Yeah,
definitely do that. And that would change their dynamic dramatically. Not for the better, by the way.
right. Yeah, that is annoying to think of that too, where it's like I didn't decide to have a child though. Like this is your kid, it's your responsibility. Like yeah, I could care about my younger sibling, but like why should I be like just default having to raise them for you?
I do think that happens to a lot of elder siblings, and it's not really appropriate because it actually does disrupt their developmental process.
Yeah.
You do it too much, and they won't want to have kids when they become an adult.
I wonder, my sister, she's like 17, 18 years older than me. And so my brother's 8 and then another one's 13 years older. So I think she like had to babysit me a little bit, but then she moved away when I was like 1 because she was grown up. I wonder how much, but she never had kids of her own either though. So I wonder like how much of the taking care of siblings thing that she had to do then.
I mean, it's not always the reason why someone doesn't have kids, but it is a common reason why.
I think she told me this specifically though, actually, that I'm pretty sure she like once mentioned that, and like, oh yeah, she doesn't own kids, so like she already took care of.
When they're teenagers and they have to take care of young kids, it's the problem is that it's immediately associated with negative emotion. They don't have, like if they're forced into it several times and like, oh, they're not allowed to go out with their friends, or they are struggling to get their homework done, those kinds of things, and it happens often enough, that's just reinforcing this negative idea about what it means to have a child, and then they don't want to have a child when they are an adult. And it will fuck up your kids if you force the elder ones to take care of the younger ones too much. Like, I do think it's incredibly inappropriate.
I didn't even have that going on growing up because, you know, again, pretty much only child and then youngest. But I still grew up somehow not wanting kids either, though. And it has like negative connotations still. I don't know. Maybe someday, but I keep thinking,
like I said, it's one of many reasons why.
Yeah.
Have kids,
I just like to psychoanalyze myself.
Yeah, but it's a common one. It is a very common one.
Oh, to totally go off track for a second, Winky is asking what my top is. It is the evolutions of so we've got, I can't even see what, I think Espeon, Sylveon, so it's all of the Eevee evolutions of Pokemon. See, why would I want to have kids? I'm still a kid myself, so. Hi, John De La Rose. I like Tree Surgeon. That 8-year-old has seen some shit.
There, now it's Halloween themed.
Ooh, I like that. Oh, it was an accident. I was an accident, actually. Definitely was an accident.
I was planned. Absolutely planned.
Oh, no. Yeah, I was not. What was my other note say? Oh, why couldn't the cat talk 300 years ago? Still in the first film, but what's his name?
Binks.
Binks, yeah, whatever his first name was.
Binks.
Why couldn't he talk? Yeah, because he was like, he never talked to his parents again when he was but then he could talk in the future. So I just don't remember if they had answered that.
They kind of do, they kind of don't. But the canonical answer is that he couldn't talk to anyone until the black flame candle was lit.
Oh, so he could start talking again once. Okay, all right, I'll accept that. That's why when it happened, I was not understanding why he never tried doing anything with his parents again. JDA says it's a woman's duty to have babies annually once she turns 18. Man, that sounds exhausting. I do know how many people.
Go ahead.
Oh, that just have like who is it? Isn't there the one? There are like TV shows of mothers who have like a bunch, like 19 kids or something. And then they have like, hey, you're the older ones can take care of the younger ones, but maybe they're in healthier relationships though too, or I think it can be fine if it's like reinforced with or there's positive reinforcement to it though, that like, hey, maybe when you instill like good family values or something early on, that maybe that can help where it's like, but
one of the issues is that teenagers are going through the phase of their development where they are trying to separate themselves from the identity of their parents, which means they have to start venturing outside of the home more and becoming more independent in their behavior. That's hard to do if you're told you're not allowed to leave because we have kids that you need to take care of. I mean,
yeah, you're already having to be this responsible parent. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can balance it. Like, hey, like once a week, asking for
planning ahead. Yeah, like, or
instead
of like saying like, hey, you need, or telling them like you need to do this. Like you're taking them trick or it's like, hey, could you do this on this day? Like that, can we plan this out? And like if you agree to it, like how just more communicative as parents to your older child, that like I think that could work. You're like, okay, like, and if they're reluctant, then you can talk about like, can we like adjust like schedules or make something like, I'll do something else for you here, like you can go to such and such party or whatever if you take care, like something where it's just like you get a benefit out of this, and it's not just I always hated that with like friends' parents who were like, do this thing for me, do this thing for me. I'm like, I don't like the ordering around, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the give and take aspect is showing like respect that the teenager is becoming an adult. Like it's important, honestly, because you will stunt them if you don't start respecting that. And I know that, like, I'm not saying that that's like, oh, if a teenager's getting into like shit tons of trouble, that, oh, you just respect that. No, that's not my point. I mean like a normal, average, not a crazy person teenager.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
What's JDA says, I've been trying for like 6 months and have yet to be able to get a rise out of Beverly or Alex. Have you been trying to get a rise out of us? Didn't even know.
I didn't know that's what he was doing. I'm sorry. Like, he can make as many like misogynistic jokes as he wants. I'm still gonna laugh at them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't care. And maybe you're right. But like, if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm okay with liking things no one else likes, or like, or just believing different things. That I'm like, whatever. I like a lot of terrible things, or at least things that other people think are terrible.
Well, I like I said, there's a lot that probably could have been developed more with the original movie with Max and Danny. There could have been more going on there that they could have done.
Yeah, they could have had a good emotional. I don't know. Like I could have been more emotionally invested in their relationship if there were better writing, because it seemed like they were trying to, but it just came off as really shallow. It's like, hey, I know I was mean to you earlier, but now like I'm your big brother. Are we cool? Like, yeah. So it was just kind of like,
I know they needed to do. They were trying to set up so many things in such a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
In the first act of Hocus Pocus, that it makes some of the things that they end up having to like resolve come off as a little cheap.
Right.
And they cut a lot of scenes from the movie too, by the way.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, some of it ended up in trailers too, like Mary in a grocery store. Something I can't remember what else there was. I will say this though, I like Billy Butcher. I always liked Billy Butcher. I thought he was a really fun character.
Yeah, me too. I liked him.
So I was pleased by his inclusion in the sequel. Like, I felt like he did a good job.
Yeah, and at first I was like, I kind of expected they're not gonna. I don't remember the actor's name either, though. But like, I'm like, is that a different guy? I'm like, no, they did. I'll give credit for doing a sequel, and like 30 years later or whatever, and you bring back like 4 of the main actors from the original one. Like, okay, that's at least a plus as far as that, instead of like replacing them with different actors or whatever. Like, or like a reboot with just new actors playing like the new characters of them. So like, at least that was I think a better choice, like less. That was a good option to choose, even if the whole thing didn't work out.
No, yeah, and I like Billy Butcher, the guy who plays him. He's really famous as like the guy you put in weird and crazy costumes, because he's Abe Sapien from the Hellboy movies.
Okay, I haven't seen this.
And he's the Pan's Labyrinth hand eye guy. Yeah.
Oh.
He's in so many things because of the fact that he's like willing to like do all these weird things. And he's very tall. He's a very, very tall man. So like he's very popular in Hollywood and has been for 30 years.
Yeah. What's his name again?
I can't remember.
Let me look it up. It is Doug Jones. Yeah, is he the one who plays like he'll play in horror movies as like the creepy of the whatever monsters?
Usually.
Okay,
he's often the monster in horror movies.
I can't think of the other ones, that I know I've seen him recently in something where he had to play like, I don't know, whatever, like tall, lanky monsters that there are.
Yeah. I like him. I thought I liked the fact that Billy Butcherson had more lines in this movie. Like, it made sense why he didn't have a lot of lines in the first movie.
The Baron too in What We Do in the Shadows. That's him.
Yeah, that's him. He's the Baron in What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah. Of course he is. No one moves their body the way he does.
Yeah. Well, he only has like half a body for a lot of it too. So I forgot. Well, we need to talk about that show sometime, because I just finished watching season 3 and 4.
First episode so far.
Oh, really? Yeah, at some point then you'll need to. Crimson Peak. Yeah, a bunch of movies. Where did we go? What was it? Okay, and the original one, was that everything? I guess for both movies too. I mean, I get it, they're witches, and then you kind of have like a meta thing about it, but then I just kept thinking, how do they know the tunes to the songs that they're singing when they like just got here?
I know.
I can suspend disbelief. I get it. It's a kid's movie, but
I was so uncomfortable when they started singing when they first showed up in the sequel, because I was like, who the why are they fucking dancing and singing? They just showed up.
Yeah.
And then like one of the characters asked that questions, and I was like, I'm still upset. I still don't find this funny. It's just so cringy and uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
there were two songs that they sang that like were sung by witches in the first movie. One was on a stage and was actually like a spell, and the second one was Sarah doing her, her children lure thing. Yeah. So I I was like, so uncomfortable with them immediately singing. I was like, what the hell? And I know you like musicals, but like when you if the first movie was more musical, had more musical numbers in it, I probably wouldn't have found it so jarring that they immediately started singing.
If it were a musical, then that would be fine. Like, then you're like, I'm not gonna question why you're breaking into song right now because it's a musical. But when
Exactly.
it's not one, then you're like, why is the music happening now? Or on the flip side, if you're supposed to be a musical and you're doing Roadie, the film, where you're just doing a bunch of stage performance, like you're not a musical, even though you claim to be. Yeah, so I think it's just like, well, this isn't my expectation of it. So like I'm bothered by this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you not like musicals? Just your phrasing made it seem like you don't like.
I do actually like musicals, but I have to be prepared for them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
They
No.
have to
Yeah.
say that they're a musical. I have to expect them to be doing musical numbers. Like, for example, I really like Easter Parade. It's a very old musical starring Fred Astaire and Judy Garland. One of my favorites of all time. Some of those performances are actually like performances within the narrative, and some of them are not. Like, it's a blend of the two. So,
Yeah.
but
I'm
like
okay with that. Yeah.
one of the first ones though is not a performance. It's just someone being, and I think that's the way to go. If you're gonna, if they could go back and forth, then the first one should probably be not a performance within the narrative.
Yeah, if it's a musical about a performance, that's fine. Like Roadie could have been fine, but you needed to have songs that weren't just like, oh, we're at this next performance. I will forever hate Roadie, and I'll keep bringing it up.
It was not good. It really wasn't. I really like the Bob Fosse style musicals too, like Chicago, Cabaret. I thought those were really good. I even watched Sweet Charity, which is not the best of those.
Okay.
But a lot of like what I like about Cabaret is the conceit is mostly that it is a performance that they're performing on the stage at the cabaret, but the songs all equate to what's going on in the narrative. I thought that was very well done. And I think the stage production, though, they are really just musical numbers that are, not performances.
Book of Mormon is still going to be like one of my favorites. I've seen that 4 or 5 times live whenever it came to like Pittsburgh or Chicago. I just love Trey Parker, Matt Stone. Hasadiga Ibawai is like the best song ever.
I've never seen that one.
Oh my gosh, you need to.
I know. I have that album for Avenue Q. I've wanted to see that one forever.
I have seen that one. I wish I liked Avenue Q more than I did. And I think it's one of those things like where I just have a problem where it's there. I like any story that has more of a plot, like here's this goal, and it kind of was just like here's what we're going on throughout, like, and it had a little bit of it, but it just wasn't enough of like here's this big plot that continues throughout. It was like and I get the point was kind of like finding yourself because you're like an early 20s person living in New York, so you're just trying to find your way. But like so it's harder for me to like care when I don't know like where we're going. But I do love Robert Lopez as a composer though, and he is the youngest person to have gotten an EGOT, the only one to have gotten it within 10-year span. Like he did the Scrubs the musical episode. He was involved.
That was a good episode.
Book of Mormon. Yeah, I think that's what he got the Emmy for, was that episode. So Book of Mormon, Let It Go from Frozen. He and his wife did that song, and they might have done others too, but like So he's a successful composer.
On the subject of Frozen, I hate that movie.
Really?
Yeah, I can't stand it.
I enjoyed it.
I really don't like it.
When we are gonna do a Disney, we'll go through and talk
We'll
Disney
do
movies at
Disney,
some
yeah,
point,
at
like
some
that, 'cause
point,
I want.
yeah. But I'll save my opinion for then. I love Fiddler on the Roof. Someone
Was that
mentioned
what
that. So
FOTO was? Okay. Or no,
Fiddler on the Roof is
FTR.
amazing. And I used to work at the William Minge Center for the Arts in Independence, Kansas, and we honored Sheldon Harnick one year. So I got to meet him, and it was so awesome because Fiddler on the Roof is just one of the best musicals of all time. It's so beautiful. The music is just gorgeous and funny. It's really funny too.
I've only seen it when I was younger, like a local stage production, so I barely remember any of it now.
You should watch the movie. It's pretty good adaptation, honestly.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen a lot of like the actual films. Most of the things I've seen have been like either like community productions, or if not, a couple like professional productions over the years. Phantom of the Opera, I don't know. I think the music is really pretty. I think that I never really appreciated the story much, though. I have it here. I mean, I have a few different, because we played it. I played accompaniment in my chorus in high school, so I have like an 11-minute medley of Phantom of the Opera. That's fun to play. I really enjoy that, but the full. I think that we did watch that film though, so I think I was kind of underwhelmed by the story.
Tried one time to watch Phantom of the Opera, the movie, and I literally, and this was in high school when my taste was much less refined, so I was willing to put up with a lot more bullshit, and I just could not get through this movie. I was so done. Like, I think I got to the point where Christina sees that weird doll of herself and faints, and I was like, I'm this is so weird.
I barely remember anything. Yeah, I just thought like
this.
Not a great story, and I'm very like again, the music is pretty, but I just was like, I don't care. Like, I don't know. I didn't care about the characters and the creepy love and him.
Yeah, I know. Like, that was the other thing too, is that the Phantom is a creeper.
Yeah. So I'm just like, why do I want one? And am I gonna fall in love with my stalker here or something?
Yeah,
but, like,
really.
I don't know.
I saw the Muppets Christmas Carol recently, actually.
Oh.
For the first time.
Another one.
I liked it.
What's it called? Once Upon a Mattress. That was the first musical, and when I was in 9th grade, that like the school put on, and it's based off of Princess and the Pea, and I don't really remember much of it all, but I remember loving it, and it was one of my I still say it's one of my favorites, even though I barely remember anything in it now. I just remember emotionally that I loved it. So
I went to ITF in 2005, the International Thespians Festival, and every night they had another musical performance. So there was Beauty and the Beast. That one wasn't bad. There was Sweeney Todd. That was a pretty good Sweeney Todd. Ragtime was amazing. That was so good.
What do you think of Into the Woods?
We did not do Into the Woods that year. No one did.
Have you seen it, or do you like it?
I have not seen it.
Okay. I haven't watched like the recorded film. I'm sorry if you were finishing a list.
I can't remember any of them except for the original one, Puck's Potion, which was okay.
Let me make sure that I'm talking about the right thing. Into the Woods. I just want to make sure that I'm speaking of the right thing. Yes. Okay. I never saw the film. I saw a recording of the stage performance with Bernadette, what's her face, and I love her. Just because I don't remember people's names doesn't mean I don't like them. I never know any actors' name. That's why I have to reference Richard T. Platt from Veep. But which I don't know why I said T. My middle name is John. It's just still one of my favorite lines ever from because it's like he just introduces himself. Hi, I'm Richard T. Splat. I don't know why I said T. My middle name is John. Like it's without missing a beat. That is just like one sentence.
That is seems to be how he delivers everything. Like
Yeah, and I'm okay with like, it's just kind of what you do. They made like a fake blog, or like it was like a real blog. It was of the character. So Richard made some like that it was online. He had his own website where it was just like each day he would post a new blog, and I went through and read a lot, if not all of it, at some point. Just because I hated all of the other characters on that show. They all sucked except for Richard. Loved him. But anyway, Into the Woods. I really enjoyed that musical, so I think we just watched it on YouTube, so people can watch that at some point. Though it was great. Giants in the Sky. I named my cow in D&D after and named him Milky White, and even though he's like a purely brown cow, I named him Milky White. And Bernadette Peters. I remember her name now. See, I know things.
Tree Surgeon does have Peters in the chat.
Oh, I wasn't reading it. I didn't look. I swear. I'm ignoring everyone in chat because I hate you all. I'm trying to remember any of the other stuff. Like, the Giants in the Sky is like the only thing I can remember right now, but I need to rewatch that musical at some point. Anyway, back to Hocus Pocus. Yeah. I want to do like just themes of like do Disney or do musicals and stuff, because hey, there are so many things that I'd like to talk about. People need to stop coming out with new movies and shows. So
just take a break for a year.
Yeah. For the sequel, my initial question, and that I heard from others too, I was like, why is Mary's mouth sticking out on the other side? And I heard that it was just, is it continuity issues or what? But then I looked into it and saw that, she's old. And so for whatever reason, she just struggled being able to hold her mouth in that position, like her face in that position, in that direction. So I was like, okay, I can accept that change, though. Like you're like in your 60s, whatever. But when you refilm the children, I was like, why would that not, like the girls, the little Mary's mouth was going the other direction of adult Mary. And I did read, but I don't remember seeing the scene. But she talked, like the actress of Mary, she was saying how like there is a scene in there where when Winifred slaps her and her mouth like moves to the other side, and then she slaps her again and the mouth moves back. And I can't remember if I actually saw that in the movie because I might have not been looking at the time, but maybe it was an outtake or something. But apparently that was supposed to have happened at least. And so I guess like if that were shown, like, okay, I can accept that, like, oh, your mouth just changes depending on like maybe you got hit or something in your position. But I know that I think that was like an issue for people online when they were like, why is this happening?
That's a funny thing to have an issue over, honestly. Like, I don't care that much about that. What I do care about is this idea that, like, one, that you can talk an evil person out of being evil, and two, that men are the problem is kind of the perspective that they went with. I was like,
not surprised, though. I mean, they even had the girl. I'll say too, I'm okay with the concept of like, oh, you have like 3 other girls who are going to be like like that here are the new witches, because a lot of times like witch stuff is in 3, so I was kind of okay. I hadn't thought about like who are the new characters going to be, like who are the new kids, like I didn't think about it at all. So when I saw, I'm like, oh, of course, like diversity, oh, of course, females, like yeah, I should have expected like that was the direction you're going to go with, which on its own it's not bad. It's just kind of like, oh, like, oh, this is the reason why they're doing it. But then I was like, okay, just because I also like this kid's show, what's it called? Something with Matt, like it's something about like cooking with magic, cooking. I forget the name of it, but like there are 3 girls. They get like these recipes that they can do magic with and stuff too, and it's a cute kids show. But it just kind of reminded me of that, and because they had like, oh, the older women who used to be like when they were their age they had this, but then some of them kind of went bad and stuff too, so it went through this whole thing. So I like that as a general concept, but it was just again for this too where it's like execution and stuff not great. And the one girl too, she was like, oh my goddess, when they were, I think, going out of the basement. I was just like, cringe. And you left oh yeah, they escaped the basement by lighting whatever the things are in fire. And
Angelica
I was,
leaves.
yeah, when they left it on fire when they left the area, though, it's just like, you're gonna just destroy and burn down everything. You're gonna be unintentionally bad witches.
Yeah, really. Well, then, same thing with like lighting a bunch of candles in the forest with a bunch of leaves around you. Dry,
Yeah,
dead
dry
leaves.
leaves.
Yeah. I was like, God, you guys are great, by the way. But like, I found the three girls like not that compelling.
No, not at all. That's why I kept trying to emphasize, I like the concept of this, like, okay, like new witches or something, but they're gonna be good versus like the evil ones. Like, I like that as a concept. All right. Not well done though. And
No.
they could tell, like, these girls certainly have some problems with one another. They have some sort of history that's awkward and not good. But it was just kind of like, you didn't even, it was similar to the first one too, where it was just like, you could have, I don't know, gotten deeper into the, even in a kid's film, like this could have been done better as far as like, hey, we're not hanging out anymore. And then later on, it's just like, oh, it was actually this thing the whole time. And we never knew that the problem was just we didn't want to hang out with your boyfriend because they suck. And I don't know. I
Well, I
did.
mean, like the guys were all either dumb or evil. Like most of them were dumb. They were pretty much all dumb.
Yes.
Like Gilbert was dumb. Her boyfriend was dumb. The mayor was dumb. It was like it got kind of tiring. I'm like, they can't,
Mhm.
like, you can't have every single one of them be idiots. Like that's not great. And it's like, because they all of them were not like bad people really. And it's like, I'm so sick of this. It is a trope at this point. Men are dumb, boys are dumb. And it's like, I'm sorry, are we 6-year-olds? Because that's how you're acting when you act like boys are dumb.
Mhm. Yeah. And I'm trying to think of like, do I like it more that the boyfriend, at least that they didn't make him just a jerk though, like that he was unintentional. Like, oh, sure, he was dumb, but I guess that's more endearing, at least, where it's like, oh, if you're trying to say that men are bad, at least that's a little bit more endearing, where he's like, I legitimately didn't realize that I was being mean to people. And then he said, like, I've got a lot of people to apologize to then. And so I like that line. But so I guess I'll say that, I guess if it's unintentional, at least they're more likable, even if they're dumb. But I get that, like in everything now, it's just like you have got the idiot husband, the idiot dad, and like they're not good for anything except for like slapstick humor.
Yeah, like if the boyfriend was the only dumb one and that was just to like make it seem like he's not actually a bad person, that he was just he's stupid when it comes to interpersonal communication.
Yeah,
Like
there's
I
ways to
totally
make that like, yeah.
yeah, like I would have been fine with that. But like the fact that like Gilbert is an idiot, that's how the witches are brought back, because he's literally stupid. He's like, oh yeah, they were sucking the souls out of children and they didn't have a choice. Like, yeah, they did, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like stupid to bring them back. And then the mayor is just like, he's so dumb. He's kind. He doesn't know that his daughter isn't friend with these girls anymore. And I'm like, stop making the men dumb as a way of like moving the plot forward or whatever, because this is not very good writing.
Yeah, did the girls outside of the mayor, did the other ones have parents at all?
Not that you really saw.
Okay, yeah, I don't recall them, because like even in the original too, like the parents were like, oh, as with most of the like kids movies then too, are like, we don't know, like we're barely listening to you, like we don't really care as much that you exist, we just think that you're always making up stuff, so we're not really paying attention.
I do give Max and Danny's parents a little bit of slack because of the fact that when their kids showed up and Max says to the dad, you got to listen to me, something's wrong. The dad immediately was like, is Danny okay? Like his concern is obvious, like
Yeah.
immediate. So like
Yeah, I was thinking more the mom.
Yeah, but then the witches cast a spell on them, so like they literally
Right, they
can't
didn't get much time
leave.
to like
Yeah. At least there is like a plot reason why she would you know, like why they like never went, you know, it's 2 a.m. Where are our kids? You know?
Yeah. Especially once they're under the spell, like I'm more forgiving for that. I was just trying to compare like that they make like, oh, adults aren't going to be useful in
But that's
these
a
types of movies. And
huge theme in stories for kids.
right.
Which
So
I
then
don't know is a great message to tell children
right, but
necessarily.
it happens a lot. So that's why, like, okay, if you're gonna say like the dad and Gilbert are dumb because like they're the adults, so then you're kind of like we have to do things, but then, but yeah, then you have the boyfriend who's dumb too, and then it's like if you had one male character, even if it's a young one, like maybe one of those girls is instead a guy. Like I don't even care, like if you did it that way, and if you wanted to make him gay, because it's like oh now you're like whatever. I don't even care about that, but it's just like if you had where it's just not everyone who's male is an idiot, I can see that like because it just seems like an intentional choice.
Or I mean, even if it's not intentional, if it's just I don't like men and I wrote this like because this is how I think of men.
Oh yeah, I guess kind of think of that as still intentional. Like yeah, but maybe because like well I don't like them, so this is what I do. I did like at one point when the witches cast the spell and they had them dancing to like point to where the mayor is, because I was like, man, I even commented that like oh like the dance is fun, but like they're going so slowly that like that's taking them forever. And then they actually write that line into they're like they're useless, like the witches say, like, oh, they're useless. They're like, even when they're under the spell, so they like fly off because they're taking so long. So I actually did appreciate that they acknowledge, like, hey, this is not going to be a useful way to get what we want.
I did appreciate the fact that they redid the joke about the sisters' broomsticks.
Yeah. Oh, that did actually make me laugh though, because like, okay, of course
and
you're gonna have like
they
the vacuum
updated
first. Now there's the vacuum again. Now you've got the what are they called? Roombas. And then it was actually I thought it was cute each time because then they're like trying to vacuum up popcorn. Like they made it without ever like going into any detail, but it was just kind of like, are they sentient? Because they kind of like are making them out to be, and I loved it. And I loved like, oh, they're just following along, like, hey, come this way, and they like turn around and just start following them. And I just thought it was every time I saw them, I just kept going like, oh, because I thought they
were funny. That was a funny idea, was to use the Roombas. I thought that was like probably the smartest joke they made in the whole movie.
Yeah. I liked the where they had Siri come in though, because I think Winnie had a line like "be serious" or something, and then it like woke up Siri, and I'm like, oh, because before in the first film they had like the French instructor like voice in the school though, so then now you just have like, oh, another thing that's like speaking and you don't understand it, and yet lyric like tunes to a lot of songs that you're not aware of though, so like it's weird, but I mean,
like at one point Mary makes a cowabunga joke.
I remember that too. And I'm like, why does she know that? Like she was in 1993 for one night. So I mean, I don't know what they're doing.
I mean, she did watch TV at the Devil's House.
Oh yeah, that's right. She got to see a little bit of TV.
Maybe some of it was just like The Simpsons. I don't know.
I forget what they were watching on there. I just made a cake today. I haven't decorated yet, but I did bake it.
Did you know that the devil and his wife in the first movie are brother and sister, those two actors?
Oh, I mean, I knew the woman is Laverne from Laverne and Shirley, but I didn't know who the guy was.
Oh, that's her brother.
Huh, that's awkward.
Yeah, it is.
Role.
There was also a scene in the sequel where they show those two on TV.
And I was like, what? So they're like, so that movie exists in this, and I think it was like you're not supposed to. I think it's just like here's this meta thing that we're not actually going to address. So I'm like, I'm okay with that.
I also think that's a section of the movie that they're willing to cut out, like for some countries because the couple watching it are two men.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't even notice who was I didn't remember who was watching it. Okay, so then they can just edit that out and it doesn't matter.
Yep. They do that a lot at Disney, where they go,
yeah,
we have a gay couple or gay character.
But it's not an important scene.
Yeah. Let's just take that out.
I have heard that. I'm trying to think. I don't think I had really much else. So that's what. Oh, overall, I still think that because I love Buster and Richard T. Splat. I think I just was more interested in the second one. I'm not saying it was good. I'm just saying that I think I liked it more than the first one. That I was also very meh about. So
I will agree that Gilbert had the funniest jokes in the whole thing. Like delivered by a person, like he was pretty funny. But yeah, I was mostly not all that. I didn't enjoy it. It made me. It took me a while to get through it, honestly, because for
That's
one
how I felt
thing,
the
Disney
first one.
kept freezing.
Oh, yeah, Disney app sucks. Like I mean, our internet's bad, but Disney app takes forever to load if it does, and then it'll freeze a lot too.
Yeah.
Funimation does that for us too. Like Funimation just sometimes never loads at all in the TV app. And then I'm annoyed because like they got bought out by Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll doesn't even have an app on our on Samsung TVs. So how am I supposed to watch that? But I think that's all I have on Hocus Pocus. So I'm Hocus Pocused out.
Yeah,
Laverne died in 2018.
Oh, that's sad.
I mean, she was old, but
she wasn't like a spring chicken when the first movie came out.
So what's our next thing? Scream Queens. I have a lot of notes on that. So I think I mentioned earlier, like I rewatched it all and I in like the last 3 days. So it's was a lot. I really, really powered through. But before we get into that, we can watch one, we can do our these tweets of like the worst tweets. Maybe we can do do you want to do the trailers now, or do you want to save those for the end?
Well, we can do those now.
Okay.
I don't have a lot to say about them anyway.
That's why I wasn't sure. I'm like, if I don't have a lot to say, then it won't take that long. But sometimes we have a lot to say on things.
And then we go off book.
Yeah. And you have a stream too. So
yeah, I do have a stream.
Another one. Why is this saying present screen instead of share it? Why did that word change? That makes me nervous. Okay. I'm not sure which one is which. So I'm going to go American Magazine or America Magazine on Twitter.
Yeah. Excuse me.
That one says, whoop. Where is it?
Yeah, America Magazine. I don't think this magazine is well named.
Borders are our lines, not God's. We cannot help but the gospel wants us to know that they are our lines. Should I click on it, or you just
no?
Is this enough? Okay. I didn't know whether I wanted to read more, but don't give them the satisfaction of a click.
No,
Borders
don't.
are our lines, not God's. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what does this have to do with, like, to me, I'm like, as an atheist, I'm like, I still think like borders are important, and I don't understand why God has to come into it.
Yeah, I mean, and that could be borders for anything, just like personal boundaries type of thing, like metaphorical borders, any of that. Well, I don't even. I've got nothing on that.
It's just gonna really dumb. So,
what's this other one then too? Daily Catherine McKinnon. In prostitution, women have sex with men they would never otherwise have sex with. The money thus acts as a form of force, not as a measure of consent. It acts like physical force does in rape.
Can't even get through it. It's bad, yeah. I literally copied and pasted it and in a quote tweet and changed prostitution to in my day job, and I am forced to do tasks I would never otherwise do.
Yeah.
The money acts as a form of force, not a measurement of consent. It acts like physical force does in slavery is what I wrote, because it's just, I mean, like, you can literally say that about anything.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, what about like with kids or something, like you're taking care of your children. Like I wouldn't otherwise be doing this thing if I didn't have children. So my children are like forcing me to do, like, wow, to say that, like, hey, we've got this voluntary interaction with one another, and you're paying for a service. What? And then you're accepting this money for this service. That is 100% consent.
Yes.
Unless they're like saying, no, I don't want this. And they're throwing the money at you and forcing themselves on you. Like, okay, yeah, I'll count that.
I agree. That's rape. Yeah.
But like that is not how consent works. And just for the record, like I don't care about prostitution. Like I don't think it should be illegal. But this is just such a stupid take.
It really is. This one was so dumb. And then people are like arguing over whether or not prostitution is coercive or anything. And it's like, I whenever someone starts talking about that shit, I'm like, so there's a lot of prostitutes in my area. And I would walk around and there'd be bus stops that I'd pass. And there were all these signs on them saying, want to get out of the life? Like, and with numbers to grab and stuff. Like, there's literally ways to get out of it. So like I know in my city alone that there are orgs that will help you escape prostitution if you don't want to do it anymore. So
yeah.
And to me, it's the Morgan Freeman thing. The bus runs every day.
Wow. That I could not get through that. Just as soon as I saw where that was going, like, man, this is hilariously bad.
It is.
So stupid. Yeah, what is this? That's what, real quick, Raphael says, now we have entitled women. Come on, they feel entitled to live their life their way without consequence. And that's an issue too, that like, well, the entitlement for everything, hang on, before I get distracted with that, is that like, just because I think that people should be allowed to do what they want consensually, like as adults too, if you're not like infringing on others' rights, that doesn't mean there aren't consequences for whatever behaviors though. Like, I think it's up to the individual to figure out like what's best for you, that are you making healthy choices for yourself? And it's not my place to really judge. I mean, I'm not going to say that I won't judge other people, but it's also like sometimes, but I try to be more open-minded. That I'm like, I don't know your life. Like maybe like whatever this choice is for you works. And if you're living a fulfilling life, then whatever. But it's stupid that people think like I should be able to do whatever I want. And it's not fair that there are consequences for my actions.
Well, it kind of reminds me, like recently Piers Morgan like shared a clip of him talking to Andrew Tate from a year ago, where he totally mischaracterized Andrew Tate's point, where Tate said that a woman who's 25 has a higher body count than a woman who is like 18, 19 years old, which means she's like
body count of murders.
No, body count is like a almost at this point a hookup culture term for how many people you've had sex with.
Just wanted to make sure that that's what we meant instead.
And
like October horror.
But and like that's more desirable for men to have for women that they want to be with to have a smaller body count. And he's not saying that means that the women who are 25 are like terrible people or anything. It's just that it is true that most men do not want women who've had sex with like 50 to 100 guys. Like that is not really up for debate.
Yeah.
Like honestly that's probably okay. But like Piers is all like, you're saying you're being misogynistic. It's wrong to not want those women essentially. And it's like, no, that's like preference. Like what people are attracted to is what they're attracted to.
And there's a difference too between like, don't get mad at facts though, and that's an issue that people have too. They're just like mad, like no, here are the facts, and then you can have opinions on what this means, or like you can figure out what that means. Like that people do have a preference for it, whether or not that's the right or wrong thing to believe. This is just what the facts are, and so you can be mad, I guess, like don't get mad at especially the people who are like either presenting the facts too, or just the facts themselves. Like you could be upset with like the people, like the men who dislike that, and try to argue your point of like why you shouldn't be upset with this if that's what your goal is. But yeah, it's silly to be upset with the facts themselves, though. But that is just what our culture is doing these days, though, is that they hate.
Well, they really don't want women, and it's true. A lot of people don't want women to like be like more serious about their sexual choices anymore. Like, oh my god, like you're a weirdo if you're not having sex with like basically every guy you match with on Tinder or something. Like,
is that a thing?
It's kind of like,
okay.
There's a lot of people who act like it's empowering for a woman to have sex with basically any guy she wants to at any time, like no impulse control whatsoever. Just do it. It'll make you happy. I seriously doubt like lots of sex with strangers makes most people happy. But like you're allowed to make that decision, which I do think is a stupid decision, to be that free with your sexuality. But I don't think anyone should try to like stop you from making that decision. But at the same time, if you then are in your like 30s and you want to settle down, and the guy you want to settle down with doesn't want you because you've had sex with everyone he knows and like has never heard of as well, like he's probably not like, don't get mad at him. This is a consequence of you having made those decisions. Like, I mean, I do think that's true. It's like, you're allowed to make your stupid decisions. Totally. You're not going to escape the fact that not everyone agrees with the life you chose.
And maybe, I mean, then you could see it on the other side too, that like maybe someone who is not willing to accept that part of your life isn't the right person for you either. So it's just like, you know, you kind of just like, hey, this is a deal breaker. Deal breaker. Is that the word that I couldn't think of last week when I had to like do like a super long thing, because we were talking about ultimatums or something. And then I remember I don't remember if it was on Thursday or Friday stream, but like deal breaker was the term.
But I mean, if it's a deal breaker, it's a deal breaker. You can't force them to change their mind.
I don't even know for sure if I would say if that like, oh, sleeping around that much is a stupid choice, because again, like I just don't know, like if it's maybe like you never want kids, or like or maybe you never want to settle down with someone anyway, though, like if that is, and I can also see like, hey, sometimes you kind of have to make stupid choices, like then learn from them, and then so like, okay, like, well, I can't take that back, but I have grown as a person. But there are always consequences for this too. But sometimes people kind of need to make bad choices before they figure out their lives, and that's you know, normal. But so I don't know. I'm not sure. And I guess I'd still say it just depends on the person, though. Like, because like maybe it does work out for them. Okay. Like maybe the person that they settle down with is someone who's also been a slut with everyone else though too. And that's just like, okay, like you made it work, and like this wasn't bad for you, and you lived a good life. You're healthy and stuff still. But I
mean, I do think the reason why I think it's stupid, actually, it has very little to do with the consequences you might face with finding a partner later in life, and more to do with the risk involved each time.
Yeah, if we're talking about risk,
sexual partner.
That's why it included healthy, like that. Like if you're
like once you said healthy, I was like, wait a minute, I want to clarify something.
Yeah,
because like it's there's the STD risk, there's the pregnancy risk, there's the
that's my biggest thing. Unless like you know for sure that like everything is like empty down here, and there's no like, why would you? There's way too much. I don't know, but I guess it's when they're like, you can get rid of it if you need to. Like the people who are like way too okay with that.
I literally, oh my god, it freaked me out. I saw someone, this was a while ago, this was before we started doing the bad tweets, and this was a pretty bad tweet. It was a woman who announced that she was no longer going to be doing, I hate to say this on our stream, cream pies for her OnlyFans, because birth control, but hormonal birth control messed with her system so much, and she was too worried about abortion access. And my immediate thought was, how much have you been relying on abortion to prevent yourself from having kids?
Yeah.
Like, I was like seriously concerned at that point. Like, I was like, wait a minute, this is a horrifying idea. You just
even just all right, let's I'll say too, like we can ignore, or let's leave out whether or not abortion itself is right or wrong. Just the idea of like doing that to your body, like hypothetically, like multiple times, though, that seems like a strain on it that I would not want to have multiple times.
Well, there's risk involved in abortion. There
Yeah,
is.
of course.
I mean, any medical procedure involves risk. They kind of lie to women, honestly, about how much risk there is
Really? They
involved in
lie about like
abortion.
medical risks on things to people, or just like
Yeah.
downplay how bad they
Yeah.
might be if they haven't like done more studies or something on it, maybe in the long term,
Yeah.
because the long term hasn't happened yet. Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, I mean, they make money off of abortion. Isn't that usually how it goes? Like they'll downplay the risk of something because someone's making a lot of money off of it.
People care that much about money? Huh.
Yeah.
Just didn't even know about any of this stuff. It's, yeah, I don't know. I am thinking about pie now generally, so
Well, you probably don't want a cream pie.
then I'm thinking like Boston cream pie, or like the like custard kind of, the like whipped cream topping and stuff too, though. Like
Banana cream pie.
banana cream pie. Ooh, yeah, that one. There's this lemon pie that was at the one restaurant. I got the lemon cake instead last time I was there, but I want to get the lemon pie now. So now I'm just thinking about pie.
I like Boston cream donuts, but I haven't had one in a while.
Yeah, me. I don't think I've had any of those for a while.
Because I think every part of it is something I shouldn't eat.
Let me do, so I'll show this tweet, and then actually I if you're okay with it, I think we should do Scream Queens first and then save, in case we don't have time to get to we can wait fine. On the I keep just gonna call them ads because I'm not remembering the word trailer. I don't even remember. Oh, this one is Taylor Lorenz. Is this showing up? It is. Oops. Whatever. I'm gonna read it as this. Oops. Taylor Lorenz has, from our Pop Crave, says Christian girl autumn influencer Caitlin Covington will be taking her annual fall photos next week in Vermont. And Taylor Lorenz responds, "If it wasn't COVID, I would go with her and write about it, cry face." And then underneath she adds, "Unfortunately not able to travel for stories right now because of the pandemic, frowny face." And this was posted today. I thought President Biden said that the pandemic was over.
Yeah, and I love that they include that photo of her visiting one of the Libs of TikTok's family members' homes.
Wait, what was it?
That photo of her, next to it is her at someone's home.
Oh, and someone taking it from the inside. Oh my gosh, Taylor Lorenz is like, won't leave my house.
Yeah, because she was there to bug a Libs of TikTok's, that woman that she doxed, family member. So yeah, she did that. She did that after the pandemic started.
She's such a crazy person. I never remember who she is. So hi, G-Man. I saw last night that Nick Rekieta got banned off YouTube.
He's entirely on Odyssey and Rumble now.
Yeah, I figured that's what he was gonna go exclusive. Well, you kind of have to when you're permabanned, which is where we're gonna be eventually. Plus Utreon.
Well, he was in the middle of a live stream of a court case of the Waukesha massacre court case.
Okay, yeah, I heard he was streaming all day, and that he might not have even known that he got banned because it like happened, and everyone was like freaking out on the locals.
Yeah, but he was literally in the middle of a stream, I think, of I think it's because he was covering the case that it probably happened. Yeah.
I wasn't sure why, what the specific reason was, if they actually had one, because also they'll just find whatever they want. And we got banned off of Coof stuff from like a year ago that pretty sure that none of the information was inaccurate. If anything, nowadays it came out as more accurate than they believed last year.
Yeah.
G-Man says Rekieta deserved it. You can't have a nose that big on YouTube.
Well, then they're gonna go after Viva Fry next.
Oh yeah.
And a pretty big schnoz too. He's also a lawyer who covers cases.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen a little bit of his stuff. Nick Rekieta, I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, but I know that like Megan Fox and he and Nick Rekieta were like talking about the Johnny Depp and what's her crazy face, Amber Heard,
Crazy face.
about that trial and stuff too. And then at some point they talked about wanting to do D&D, and then John Del Rose suggested that I could DM for them and just run a game about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and like map that over like whatever like castle. And Megan had like this full thing too of just like, hey, like here like a Castle Depp, and then the crazy like the hag lady Amber Heard, this whole thing. So I don't know, maybe at some point we will still do that though, because I was just like,
that would be funny.
Yeah. It sounds terrifying to like live stream those. I've never live streamed D&D before, so
it's a thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. It's a big thing, but I'm just used to doing it with just privately, well, with my group. But it sounds like it'd be fun. Okay, so we did that. So Scream Queens, let's get into this first. I love that show. I mean, it's so
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny and it's witty. Like they get the tropes, the horror tropes. And you've got I love Emma Roberts, just generally. I've always loved her. I remember from what is the show called? She played Addie Singer in I can't remember the name of it now, but she was a teenager. I think she was like probably like 13 or something at the beginning of it. Addie Singer, Emma Roberts. Oh my gosh, I could just keep saying undisclosed podcasts. Fabulous. Unfabulous.
There's so many people on Scream Queens that are the kids of famous people.
Yeah, like the daughter of Princess Leia.
Yeah, Carrie Fisher's daughter, Billie Lourd.
Yeah. See, I can only go by character names.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Is she the daughter of someone famous?
Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh.
I don't even know that. I don't know.
That means that the psycho joke didn't have that meta for you.
Oh, no, it never did.
Janet Leigh played the woman in Psycho who was stabbed in the shower.
And she said she saw that movie,
50 times because that's her mom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never got that reference. That makes that scene even better. Okay.
Yes. I was dying. Like when I realized what they were doing, I was dying because I was like, it's her fucking mom.
Wow. Okay. They reference Halloween.
The other one was Oliver Hudson. He's Goldie Hawn's son.
Oliver Hudson. Who do you play?
He played Grace's dad.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's the kids of famous people, like they're older too. Like I was thinking of like the kids in the show.
I mean, a couple of them, yes.
Yeah. So then I was trying to think like who else, and I didn't think.
Emma Roberts is Eric Roberts.
Oh my gosh! Let me watch. If you guys are for bad movie / like sorta horror kind of thing, Eric Roberts plays a creepy doctor in Stalked by My Doctor movie series. There are at least 4 or 5 of them. And he just goes like he falls in love with like teenage girls and then stalks them and like kind of secret ways until eventually he kills like everyone they love, and then and it happens. The same story happens like each movie, and I've watched most all of them. I think one just came out, but it's so weird because then I just like relate to like, man, that's Emma Roberts' dad. Like, is he this creepy in real life? Because he does have like a creepy smile, and I've never really watched him in anything else, so he just comes off as like creepy on here. But maybe he's normal outside of it, and I've only seen him in like 5 of these movies where he's just gross.
Well, you know, he complained that he's not as famous as his sister.
Oh, really?
Julia Roberts.
I forgot. Yeah. I forgot that.
I mean, really, the reason I'm sorry, Eric, but the reason why she's huge and you're not is because she's pretty. Like very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
and he's not like super handsome or anything. He's just pretty.
I don't remember but he has like a slight limp now too. I don't know how long that's been, but like, or I forget. I think he had hip or some issue. So that, but no, he's not bad looking, but like again, I don't know if that smile is just naturally creepy or just creepy in the movie, but it is. And I just kept thinking like feeling weird because he's like in love with like 16, 17-year-old girls or whatever. And those, then I just keep thinking of like, like I know this is just a character, but now I feel weird about like knowing Emma Roberts, your daughter and stuff. So it just like kept having like weird feelings about this.
I love her. She is so damn funny.
She's so great in the show too. And what you mentioned to me before, that it's the same who did American Horror Story did Scream Queens. I hadn't thought about like who the creator.
It's the same people.
And I read later too that like it made sense that like, oh, they made Scream Queens with Emma Roberts in mind because they did such a great job in, what was it, season 3 of American Horror Story? They had the witch thing.
Yeah, coming.
Yeah, so they're like, okay, like we're gonna take her and use similar character.
She was like she was a bitchy, entitled cunt on Coven.
And they just like cranked that up to 100 for Scream Queen.
Made it funny.
Yeah. And then it was great though, like so she could play it like, oh, she's playing it seriously over here, and then just like super ridiculous over in Scream Queens. There was just so many, like I just wrote down like a bunch of different lines and stuff too for as they came up though, but like all together, like I think we both recommend Scream Queens. It's on Hulu right now, and it's really well done. That's just like they have a lot of like intentionally like stupid stuff though, like even just certain like the cheesy father-daughter scenes between Grace and her dad though, like the music changes and then they'd have like, oh, dad, like, are you talking about like sex now? But then like in the middle of like, hey, there's like rampant serial killer murders happening though too, but they just have these like touching moments though that like are out of place, but makes sense because that's what horror things will do. So like they're getting the tropes right and like playing into it.
Also, the other thing is that like the way that Emma Roberts' character works with Chad Radwell, the way they at turns break up with each other. One, like Chad ends the relationship with Chanel, or Chanel ends the relationship with Chad, and then like literally the next scene they get back together. It's so
she's like, oh, Chad, and yeah, and she's like so in love with, and I love Chad too, like he's a great, I love Chad and Denise and Chanel. I think those are probably like the 3 best characters, but with Chad too, like when he's like when they're making up and then Chad is still kind of like insulting to Chanel, Emma Roberts, during it too, and she's just like, oh, Chad, I love you too, like I'm sitting, so she's so happy about it, even though like he sucks, like he's so wonderfully sucky, and but like he's just hilarious. But there's just certain lines too, and accurate ones where Gigi was, when they were going shopping, because they're doing like, oh, like, you know, Gigi's dating Gracie's dad, and so they go shopping because Gigi's always wearing like 90s clothes, and then she's just like, clearly you don't understand fashion, like in 5 years the 90s will be back, and you know, it'll be trendy again. And then Grace is like, yeah, you're probably right. And I was thinking, they were right, we've got 90s stuff everywhere now, we've got these like the mom jeans are all around, and I keep wondering, why do people think this looks good on anyone, like even skinny people, like it's still kind of like, why are you wearing that? Like it just looks bad on everybody, but it's such a thing.
Well, I think my favorite line is in the first season when Denise Hempfield, who always refers to herself as Denise Hempfield, moves into the house and borrows Chanel No. 5's clothes, and that's Abigail Breslin's character, and Abigail, and Chanel No. 5 is freaking out. She's so angry that Denise has taken her clothes, and Denise says, you better be asking yourself why you're the same size as a 40-year-old woman.
Yeah.
And then she says, I don't know where you get your thongs, but it feels like angels are flossing my butt cheeks.
Yeah.
She has the best one.
What I love too with the show, I mean, like, yeah, they've got a lot of like potty humor in it, but it's also intentional too. But I like how like straight faced all the girls will say these lines though, and how they're like I had to take like like I had to take a dump though, but it was like so bad whatever was going on with Chanel number 3, and then she was just like I didn't have to go number 2, I had to go number 3. But then they say it like oh they talk about all these gross things, but they just say like so matter of fact and so like yeah, and I think that it's only the girls who say those lines too. I don't think any of the guys ever had any kind of like,
No, they
and
didn't
I mean
really
like
have
literally potty lines.
yeah.
Potty.
One of my favorite parts though is at the end of season 2 when the 3 Chanels take the MCATs.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
Chanel number 5 gets 5 points away from a perfect score.
I think it was only 3. I think she had 525 and it was 520. Just because I just watched, but yeah, it was 528 the total. 525 is what she got. She's only 3 points away from a perfect score.
And she's like, wait a minute, no one helped me cheat.
Yeah, because the other 2 they cheated their way into it, and she had the highest one out of all 3 of them. No one cares.
We all almost got a perfect score, Chanel number 5.
I love how because
she's like, I was secretly a genius.
Yeah,
and no one
and I love how mean they are about it too. Because Emma Roberts is Chanel is just all the time, like anytime number 5 brings it up, and she's just like, "Yeah, we all pass. We're all doctors. No one cares." So mean.
That was probably one of my favorite parts for Chanel number 5 because I did feel like for so long Chanel number 5 was shit on throughout the entire show and like had nothing good going for her essentially, and so for her to actually be good at something,
that she's just like she is this.
It felt good that she actually had something she was good at, even if the other Chanels didn't pay attention to it.
Yeah, because I kept thinking like, oh, like she is pretty annoying, but like everyone is so terrible to her though. Like I don't because it's like, is she as bad or like they're all just saying she's that bad? But like, no, she is kind of annoying, but she's not that bad. And
she's
compared to everyone else,
no more annoying than anyone else to me.
Yeah, Gene, we're talking about Scream Queens, the TV series Scream Queens, 2 seasons. On Hulu, and it's a great show. It's hilarious. Perfect time to watch it for like Halloween time. And I saw you asked about if we're watching Bros for Bad Movie Night. Totally. Is that in theaters right now?
It is in theaters right
so now. Yeah, once that comes out somehow to get a copy of it, we will watch that for Bad Movie Night.
My other like absolute favorite moment in the show is when they're talking about the definition of ghosting.
Yes, yeah. They all have so many definitions.
Like what Jamie Lee Curtis means is that she wants them to follow them.
Shadowing. Yeah, you want to shadow them. Yeah.
But she's saying ghosting, and then like one of them gets the right definition, that it's no longer replying to someone after you match like on Tinder or something. But Chanel's answer is the craziest one.
Yeah, they had the note like, oh, that you leave a party without saying any of
which is a French exit.
Yeah, I've also heard Irish accent, but I think I've also heard ghosting used as that though too at some point. I think it used to be a thing.
I think that was Chanel number 3's answer was the French. No, she's the one who called it a French exit. I can't remember.
Yeah, and then but Chanel number 1 like had the again the toilet humor.
Yeah, she said it's when you go to the bathroom number 2 and then there's no poop in the toilet.
It disappears because it gets like sucked away before you even flush. So you look down and there's nothing there. Like, and I was just like, yeah, there's just so much toilet humor. But again, it's delivered where she's just like saying like these things though, but they're also like super prissy girls and all that, but they're totally comfortable in talking about any of the toilet humor. Yeah, they're so great. other lines too. It was Chad Radwell's, or I forget who he was talking to about, but like she was just saying like, "Well, we'll see, like we'll find out," and he just kept saying like, "Yes, we will see because it'll happen in the future, and since it has not happened yet, like the direction of time only flows in one direction." So they keep going back and forth, and he just keeps agreeing like, "Yeah, like we will find out about this because we don't know right now because it has not yet happened." Like,
Yeah.
like so committed to like the
Chad
delivery.
Radwell was amazing. He was a great character because he was such a douchebag, like a
Mhm.
total jerk. But I love Glenn Powell. He's really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, I was disappointed he did not have a larger role in Top Gun, the new Top Gun, because when I saw him in there, I was just, and I mean, obviously it's not a comedy, but I'm like, they're not using you to your fullest abilities.
Well, he tried out for the part of Goose.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, that's right.
not Goose,
The
Rooster.
yeah.
Goose's son. But like they were like, "You're not right for this, but we like you, so we're gonna write a part for you." Is
Yeah.
essentially what happened.
Oh, yeah. But he's so great at he's a big character in the show. So I just think he does so. And I liked at the end of season 1 where Jamie Lee Curtis. I know that she in real life is like woke to some extent. Like I don't remember what, but I've heard her spout some sort of woke nonsense in the past. I just can't think of what. But I did like that they even like they make fun of certain things that are like, well, like they like call out the fact that they are doing it, but they like talk about how they're doing it. So like at the end she said something about how like, that it's a group of it's a sorority, so all the girls and stuff is what the show is about, because I'm sure like no one else in chat here has actually watched the show, but like the whole thing is a slasher about girls in a sorority in the first season. And the second season they're now becoming doctors, and
So they're at the
so that, like,
hospital.
yeah, they're like teaching hospital. But in the first one it's so it's like a basic slasher genre, where they're being killed off, but then they do it in a really comedic way and like really acknowledging the fact, like all of the different tropes and stuff too. But and so at the end, uh Jamie Lee Curtis is like the dean of admissions or whatever, and so she's involved in a lot of it. But they even mentioned too about how like they're saying later on too, like, oh, what about Mike Myers? I think it's in season 2 where they're like, you have to wear the Michael Myers mask, and Denise is saying like, I know that Mike Myers played him, and that was like right after Wayne's World, and then
Yeah.
well, no one's, because they're like, you're not watching Friday the 13th, and then they talked about Halloween, and then I think who was it? Was it Hester who was saying like, I've never seen that movie, but then like Jamie Lee Curtis is in Halloween, but they just talk about how like, oh, we don't even know when no one's ever seen it. But Jamie Lee Curtis at the end of season 1 says, that like, oh, I'm the sorority is good now that all of the like the mean girls are gone. She said that like something about how like how we really were our commitment to almost militant political correctness, like including like diversity, and as long as they're always left leaning, and she like specifically threw that in. So they're like, yeah, acknowledging that this is how universities work, like colleges are all
In her
left leaning.
book, New Feminism.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of the like when she's talking to a bunch of people who are there to see her about her book, it's like a book signing / reading, and she's like, if previous, which she admits in the narration that she didn't even write it, that it was ghostwritten for her. She didn't even write it. But so like she's like, if original feminism was about this, and then second wave feminism was about this, this feminism can be summed up by saying women are better.
Mhm.
Like I love that so much because I feel like they are just nailing exactly
Yeah.
how awful feminism is right now.
And they even when Chanel and Grace are trying to kill her because they think she's the serial killer, but then they're talking like, oh, we want to start like a feminist movement, and we want to ask you. And so they're talking about how like, like we're, I think like everyone thinks about like equality and stuff too, and like you think that it's all great, like you follow like Taylor Swift, but then you grow up and you realize that you're only getting paid 20% less than what men are. And then Jamie Lee Curtis's character is just like, that is not what feminism is about. Like, so she just shuts down like, hey, this new thing is not like, you guys are caring about the wrong stuff. And I liked, even with the political correctness line too, she talks like afterward, they're like, oh, and I have to go uninvite Jerry Seinfeld from speaking at whatever the ceremony for making a joke about a woman once, allegedly. So like they even call out cancel culture. And this was like 2016, 2017. And they're like kind of, really making fun of it, even though I think Jamie Lee Curtis is probably on that side.
Yeah, there was that point in season 2 when Denise Hempfield is gone for a while, and then when she comes back, she goes, "What I miss? First female president. How is Hillary? First female president. I miss it." Like,
yeah,
and that like that episode had come out after the election was over.
Right. Yeah, because then all the reaction, they're just like, they're all quiet, trapped in that prison, and
they don't want to tell Denise that she was.
Also, Alex, you're gonna get us banned. They're gonna say that your accent is racist for trying to mimic a sassy black woman.
I love her. She is my
I love her so much.
Favorite.
She's so sassy. Like, yeah, I love her delivery of every line.
I loved her on Reno 911. I thought she was one of the best.
Oh, I never watched Reno 911, but she is in the Rookie FBI, I guess a spinoff from Nathan Fillion's Rookie. So Denise Hempfield did become an FBI agent. So like within Scream Queens, and now the actress, I don't know what's her name, is as a new FBI agent in the Rookie FBI.
That's really funny. I love it how in season 2 how she kept going. All my training at Quantico and all the times I watched the show at Quantico. That's part of her training was to watch Quantico.
She's asking, Alex is black? No, she's white Alex. This is white Alex, as that Twitter person had established before. That she's doing white.
I am white Alex.
I liked they called out because I think this is funny anytime I've seen it happen in like shows or movies and no one acknowledges it, where my gosh, Dean Munch, Jamie Lee Curtis, and who is it, Chanel and Zayday, who's Keke Palmer. I don't think we've really talked about Keke Palmer because she was fine, but like she's not the most, like, she and Grace aren't the most interesting characters. That's why I liked all the other ones. I'll say Keke Palmer's best line, Zayday, that was in season 2. I always loved it because she gets trapped in a well in the first one. She gets kidnapped by one of the killers and trapped in the well, and she rescues herself and she's able to get out. In the second one, she gets trapped in a different well, like inside a house, like with the serial killer's mom, and gets out. But so then she like, and Dean Munch is like, "Oh, Zayday, you're okay. Oh, thank goodness." And she's like, "Yeah, thanks for like how much you cared." And she just says, "I was trapped in a well again." And just her delivery of like how, like, yeah, this is 2 times you've been trapped in a well. And
and she was like, the way she said, "Thanks all for trying to find me." Like, it's like, well, stop hanging out with these people.
Yeah, right. Like, you know they're not going to come for you. But so Dean Munch and whoever was, they fly somewhere to go talk to the Ezra, the nurse, for the lotions and stuff too. So like there's just a clue to go figure out who the killer is. So they have to fly somewhere, and so they're explaining to Dean Munch about like, oh, like here's blah 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 what the situation is, and someone says, "You know, you would have," I think it was Zayday who said it, like, "You know, you would have known this if you had just flown on the plane with us." And then and Munch is like, "I don't fly commercial," or whatever. It's like she flew privately, but I like that they acknowledge the fact, like, why didn't you talk about this on the entire trip? Like, you don't know the plan. Like, why wouldn't you have spoken about this? And they do that in TV shows and movies where it's just like, why are you talking about this now at the end?
You're like walking up to
hours of like time in between of the other scene where. So I like that they actually like acknowledge that happened. The other line was Chanel number 3 and Taylor Lautner. So he's in season 2, and Uncle Jesse from
Stamos.
John Stamos. Thank you. So like they're in season 2. So they get a lot of like big named people. But
and Kirstie Alley.
Oh yeah, Kirstie Alley. Yeah. Taylor Lautner and Chanel number 3 are trying to help figure out a cure, like for the yoga person, like who can't stop having orgasms is one of the things. But then so like they're doing yoga positions, and I like Chanel number 3 just saying like, I just want to say first that yoga is just stretching for douchebags. And Taylor Lautner just says noted, and which is like, yeah, I think we all agree with that. Just stretching for douchebags.
I mean, I do yoga myself, but because mostly because it makes me stretch my bad hip in ways.
I don't think it's bad. I just think it's stretching.
Yeah, it's stretching, but the thing is though that there was so much wonderful things with Jamie Lee Curtis's character throughout all of it. Like the fact that she is the character who is the best at sex.
Yeah.
Like every time someone has sex with her, they're in love with her. Shit, she's amazing. We have to go back. It's like she's like
stealing everyone's guys, and yeah.
Like one of the first times we see her in the first episode, I think it was the first episode, she's in bed with Chad Radwell, and it's after the sex, and he's happy, but she's like, you are so bad at this.
Yeah, you're terrible. Like, you know that, right?
You're just absolutely terrible at sex. But she's so mad at him.
And he's talking about because and he's already dating Chanel too, but then cheating on her. And I love even with their relationship too, because Chanel's just like, can you just try be a little bit more monogamous? Can you try not sleeping with as many other girls? It's just such a thing where you're just a little bit.
And he's like, you're trying to control me.
Yeah. So funny. But then then he's talking about how he's in love with Jamie Lee Curtis too, and she's just all like, of course you are, because how could this get any worse? There's no other way that this would get any worse except that you're in love with me.
Yeah. I like the show is so silly and weird and hilarious. It is definitely it's not serious. Do not take it serious, because the narrative does not make any sense.
No, yeah, but it's okay because it's supposed to, they're that they're doing it, they're trying to be convoluted, because that's just the tropes of it. Oh, here's this twist, here's this other twist, we're twisting back to the thing beforehand now instead. He's actually. And Jamie Lee Curtis as G-Man is the one who thought Trump was hauling away USPS trucks to fix the 2020 election. That's right. That's what I recall this now.
That's what you're remembering.
Yeah. So but she's really funny in this show. The whole thing is well done. Highly recommend it. That's why I don't think I have any really criticisms of it, because the things that it seemed intentional, you were doing these bad tropes and stuff, because that's the idea. So yeah, I probably wouldn't have watched it 4 times through if I did not enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely, it's one that I will watch again, and I've been quoting it at people that I know.
Yeah.
And they're like, holy shit, what is this show? And I'm like, yeah, you gotta watch it. It's so weird and hilarious. It's one of the best TV shows for a while, because it is so silly and fun.
Yeah. So if anyone's looking for some horror themed comedy, definitely check that out. What else? Okay, so we've got, and if there's anything else that you have on that, I think I'm good. I mean, I could probably keep quoting more lines from it. We don't have to go through everything. It is really good. Oh, before we get into the trailers too, I wanted to mention, if you're planning on watching through Cyberpunk later on, I was just going to note that I did not I watched the rest of it, and I was not pleased with the ending. And I don't know. I don't spoil it if you are planning on watching the rest of it.
Might at some point.
Okay. And you might be fine with it. I just didn't like the. It was kind of what I expected it to be, but I think again it was one of those, the whole thing, there wasn't a real goal, and so at the finale of it, or the way things ended, it just felt like this didn't have to happen. There could have been other choices made, and it seemed kind of. I didn't like the decisions made for the characters, at least, and because there wasn't a bigger plot. But But I won't go into those details. If you ever finish watching it, let me know, and then we can talk more in full about it.
Yeah.
And
Well, we said we
then
were gonna have an anime night at some point.
oh yeah, okay, yeah, then we could do that. And my other note is She-Hulk. The one episode, it had Mr. Immortal in it. I forget which week, 2 weeks ago or
That was
so.
last week,
Last
at
week's
least.
okay. So Mr. Immortal, and that's played by, oh shoot, what's his name? Dave. Oh my god, I thought I was gonna remember his name. Mr. Oh no, my keyboard stopped being a keyboard. I can't even do anything now. Why are you? I need to not have a USB one apparently. Look it up on my phone. My keyboard just is not working. Mr. Immortal Dave She-Hulk. I can't remember his last name, but he's of TJ and Dave. They were an improv duo. Dave Pasquesi. I'm not sure how it's Dave Pasquesi, but TJ and Dave's super funny. I've met him before too. I think he and TJ gave my boyfriend and me a pizza once because we were like watching whatever performance. They had like extra pizza, so he came up and offered it to us though. But
That's funny.
so then like I love TJ, and Dave moved out to LA, I think, but they were in Chicago back in the day. So now every now and then we'll just see Dave like, oh, there he is in this show. Here's this part. But like I liked him as Mr. Immortal is a funny character though, because he just keeps like killing himself to get out of women problems.
Out of marriages.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched the new episode today and it's almost over and I'm still
Oh, really? I haven't seen it yet.
Not enjoying it. Like I sadly, I don't know. I find everyone but her to be more relatable and interesting and funny.
Yeah, well, I guess I mean I say the same thing in Scream Queens. Like the main character, like Grace and Zayde, were like overall not the most interesting characters of the side characters were more interesting. But I guess like in a lot of times that might happen where like the main character might be more of the straight man in certain. And I'm not trying to say that to defend She-Hulk specific, but just generally where like a lot of times I like side characters more because they're not the main one, because you get the chance to be more over the top and fun that a main character might not always be able to do because of they have to like help move the plot along or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen today's episode, but I'm enjoying the show well enough though, but I know that you don't like it. And I understand why too. Again, like I get it.
I don't know. Have you seen any of the Marvels the Netflix Daredevil?
Yes. I can't remember I think I've seen the whole thing.
Okay, because he's in the next episode.
Is he?
Like, I'm not
Okay,
spoiling that at all. It's all over the internet right now.
That's fine.
Daredevil's in it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. I'll watch it and see. But it's hard. I'm busy. I'm trying to do horror movies, like one horror movie a day. I think I have it written down on. No, wait, maybe I have it on here. I wrote it on my laptop, but I think my sticky notes are connected, but my keyboard is still not working, so I will never know. So, turn it off and turn it back on. I just really hate this keyboard. Only works half the time. Really puts it. Oh, okay. So on October 1st, I watched Smiley Face Killers. October 2nd, I watched The Town That Dreaded Sundown, the remake, because it was like a sequel to it actually, because they acknowledged that there was the original movie and that the movie exists in the film based on the real thing that happened. October 3rd, I watched Bloodfest, or I think some of these are on the same day. I watched Bloodfest. October 4th, Killer High, and then yesterday, Hocus Pocus 1 and 2. I don't think I have to watch a horror movie tonight then. I'm trying to average out a horror movie a day, so I might not be, maybe I won't have to watch 2 or something later. But I had to look up Smiley Face Killers and The Town That Dreaded Sundown when I was mentioning before that I was trying to do this. Literally could not remember the movies that I watched. They were not memorable. Smiley Face Killers was super boring. It was like, I can't even tell you anything that happened. Like, I don't think there was like enough murders. It was based on the concept of like people mysteriously drown or something though, and they think it's suicide, but they think it might actually be murder. So like it was inspired by that, but it was really boring. Challenge Dread Sundown, also not memorable. It was better, but Bloodfest That was the one that I watched for Bad Movie Night. And actually, I thought it was going to be terrible, but the second half ended up being better. Motown was really digging it because he didn't like us talking over it, so I had to keep pausing or rewinding because he couldn't hear what the lines were.
He's like, shut up!
Yeah. Wait, can you rewind that? Which I understand though too, because it actually was better than I expected it to be, in the second half at least. So yeah, so I'm powering through. You got a lot of G-Man says, why is Beverly's keyboard sticky? Well, all right. The
Trey with
so,
this?
yeah. Cabin. Knock at the cabin. If I full screen this, is that still showing up properly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sound? Or is it just really quiet?
I hear sound. I hear it's just like crickets chirping.
Yeah, it's really quiet. Until there we go. I can hear it. Fine.
Are we gonna sing along?
Yes, of course.
I wanna put on my boogie shoes. Yeah. I wanna put on.
I will say I got this song stuck in my head.
I know.
6 hours after I watched this.
And now we're gonna get demonetized.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm still surprised last week's didn't. On Friday, I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, this is too loud. Holy crap.
Gee.
Shyamalan.
My name's Leonard. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Oh yeah, Dave Bautista.
Why are you here?
I suppose I'm here to make friends with you. Your dad's too. But my heart is broken.
Why is it broken?
Because of what I have to do today.
There is a woman carrying something that looks like a pick with a chain and a mallet in it.
You see, the four of us have a very important job to do. In fact, it might be the most important job in the history of the world. We were called and are united by a common vision, which has now become a command that we cannot ignore. The four of us are here to prevent the apocalypse. Your family has been chosen to make a horrible decision. If you fail to choose, the world will end.
So, what do we think?
I mean, it's M. Night Shyamalan. It's probably not going to be that good.
Yeah, I agree. I have little faith in it. And I'm not even sure what I think of from. I mean, I understand too with or you can't reveal too much in just any trailers. Like you don't want to give away too much of the things. But I think maybe my one problem is like, why is it called Knock at the Cabin? Like if the knock itself isn't actually going to be of importance, then I think the name of it is I'm going to be upset by the name because like it seemed like, oh, now they're inside. I would think that if they never make it inside and it has something that continues to be like a psychological thing with like the knock,
You're right.
that makes sense. So I'm just already like skeptical about it, like because of the name. Like, well, now you're inside, so like the knocking has happened, or you're not going to be knocking anymore, are you? Like, unless they are, maybe there'll be the twist is something about more knocking.
Rupert Grint is one of the four people.
Was that him?
That was
I didn't even
him.
recognize him. Holy crap.
Yeah, that was Ronald Weasley.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, so I don't think I have a ton to say because I'm just not sure. I'm skeptical. Whoops.
Yeah, Wallace Williams, your
Oh my
your
God.
comment. What a twist! Are you referring to the hizzy joke? It's several years old now, where they would do this thing where they would go like, oh no, it was Robot Chicken. Robot Chicken did this thing where like at the end of an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and like, oh, the twist happens, and M. Night Shyamalan pops in and goes, what a twist!
Oh, yeah.
Making fun of his style.
When is that? Did it say when it was coming out?
I think it's coming out next year.
Oh, okay. So we've got some time. I'm gonna forget about it, and then once it comes back, I expect to be unimpressed. I do love Dave Bautista in Guardians of the Galaxy, though. He's hilarious there.
I agree with that.
I'm just really upset with how broken this is a new keyboard. Like, I only bought it like a month ago, and it has been a problem ever since then. I have it plugged into the wall too, and it's
What is the brand?
I think it's just a generic thing. It's called Artec, so it's cheap, but it is not great. Oh God! Oh, what did I hit? Now it's like trying to say that I'm trying to leave StreamYard.
You're no.
Hit cancel? Yeah, cancel. I'm gonna stay. And then another one, we've got Super Mario Brothers. I know this isn't horror, unless it is. I don't know. I haven't watched it. But is this the one with is Chris Pratt actually in this?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm excited.
There's a quote from him from a while ago saying that I'm really proud of my Mario voice. I worked really hard on it.
Yeah. I remember reading that. So we'll see. Let's see what happened. Why didn't the calculator just show up?
What is going on?
I don't know. I hit F for full screen and my calculator popped up. So I'm going to stop using the keyboard now.
Keyboard is drunk.
Yeah, I think it's haunted. My keyboard is haunted.
That's what, yeah.
I'm
That
scared.
makes sense. It is Halloween. What did it mean full screen?
Behold, the king of the Koopas!
Open the gates!
Oh.
That is but a taste of our fury. Do you yield?
I do not.
Oh.
I finally found it. Now who's gonna stop me?
What is this place?
That accent.
Do not touch that mushroom, you'll die! Oh, I'm sorry. That one's perfectly fine. Come on, Mario!
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come!
Keegan Michael Key. There's
That's
Luigi.
the Toad. I think Charlie Day is Luigi. And I think that teaser
Who's Keegan
after
Michael
all the names is basically them saying they're going to do a Luigi's Haunted Mansion sequence.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm totally down for.
If Luigi wasn't in there at all, though, because, I mean, it's the Super Mario Bros. Movie, so he better be in the movie.
Yeah.
I agree, Johnny Boy. Where is John Leguizamo? I love him as Luigi.
So weird that it's like John Leguizamo, and they want to act like they're freaking Italian in that movie. Like, you got Hoskins and fucking John Leguizamo to play Italian people. What the hell? Like, they were saying they were Italian in that movie. Although Bob Hoskins hates that movie, by the way. He hates it. Absolutely.
I'm not surprised by that.
Well, I mean, he almost died on set, so he's done.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
I was just looking at all the suggestions on this. I think it's such an array of. Why is this one just called Knife?
Knife. I like the Unsafe Space narrative dissonance.
Yeah, I got that. Got more Avril
That's
Lavigne,
a Critical Drinker
Pokemon.
video, I'm pretty sure. The one with the Rings of Power lady.
Oh, yeah. And then I was watching like black hole stuff from this Kurgzagd the other day, and so I subscribed to them. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna go through and watch all of those videos later. How do I stop share? Yeah, okay, I'm excited for. I love Mario as a series. Again,
Like,
Yoshi, Luigi. First.
If they do something as fun as the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, then I think they're fine. Like,
Oh yeah, I still need to see those movies, but yeah, I've heard good things about them.
they're fun. They're very fun.
Was that everything? And then I have that was all. We had the tweets, we had YouTube, and you have to stream in a half hour anyway. So
yeah,
on your that's why I went to your channel so I could grab the link and share it.
Oh, you wanted to share it?
Yeah. So I couldn't like I could hear you talking because I went to the channel. I'm not just like creepy stalking you. I was trying to do it to post in chat for this because she's streaming in a half hour on her channel. Which one? What are you doing again? Which horror?
I'm doing my Spooktober live streams where I'm playing through the Resident Evil franchise, but every time I get 10 deaths in one of the games, I move on to the next.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So I'm in RE2 right now. So, and I have one death. So,
and I guess while we're gonna self-promote, I'm trying I'm gonna start going back on my old channel. I decided to go forward with my OG channel that I made in December of 2006 is how old this YouTube channel is. I made it when I was like 15. So here's the link to that if people want to sub there. I haven't done anything recently, but I'm gonna figure out what I'm doing. Partially inspired by Alex with gaming and stuff too. So I'm still trying to figure out like, yeah, you got your own channel. I should go back, and I just used to do like sketches and stuff too. So I'm trying to figure out what like live streams or things I'm gonna do. I even made my own Discord. I don't know if Alex has one too. I don't know if
I do.
That's something that you advertise out. But
people can join my Discord. It's on my channel banner.
Okay. Because I don't think I'm able to
in the
do
about section. Do
you have to change it? Because I grab like the link to share out though. Is there a way that like that's a permalink that you can
create a permalink from Discord?
Okay, I don't know how to. I don't use Discord enough to know that, but this is to my new one. But there's only one other person in there, so it's the only other person I've invited. Winky says that he, because I'm not doing anything with it yet. I'm just like trying to start out. Like I made a subscribe star page. I made all these other things to try and just prepare from like if I do all these other things, then that'll like make me feel more like, hey, actually do something with this. Like feel more responsible for producing something. But Winky says that we watch Alex and not me, so that's fair. That's fine. I get it. Johnny Boy, there won't be any rap songs. Carter doesn't even want me to play his other clip anymore of Beyonce. Yeah. He's like, it's getting tired. It's like it's getting old or something now because he's a baby about stuff. What do you mean we're still going, John Delarose? You just had like a 4-hour stream the other day, repeatedly throughout the weeks.
I just joined your Discord.
Oh, I see that. Again, nothing's in there. Totally.
General, fun, news, movie
Mhm.
club, gaming club.
Yeah, figured like gotta get the staples in.
So, I think we need to go over housekeeping. Just we didn't do that.
Oh yeah, we did not do that. Oh, oof.
Yeah.
What do we've got book club. Juliet's going to be doing Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut on October 30th. Time wise, that might be we might change that. I don't know. So I'm not going to say the time yet because she might push it back to a later time.
Oh shit,
But
we woke up Missy.
No, we better hurry before she starts
Talking.
being a camera hog.
Yeah.
So that'll be October 30th. There she goes. What else is there? We've got Occasional Levity, a new series tomorrow with Juliet, Alex, and me, and then our guest will be Elle, aka Some Bitch I Know. That's at 2 p.m. Pacific / 5 p.m. Eastern. What else? I think that's it.
I think so. Yeah.
And then I think just the usual next week of stuff. And yeah, anything of importance that I need to say? I guess I can declare my love for Alex now. But
Don't. It's unrequited.
Wow, really good at just shutting it down. It's so fun. I like that you even like shooed with your hand. It's unrequited. Yeah, I don't even have like a post credits thing, so and probably won't be anything unless I think of something while the credits are running. So we'll find out. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great night. Go check out Alex after this. You've got like 22 minutes before she starts. Let me just check out chat real quick. Anything else that people have to say? No one ever says anything interesting in chat ever. Winky wants guitar keyboard. You want me to just play a keyboard and guitar at the same time? That's what, because I know he means keytar, but I'll just hold out like a keyboard in one hand and guitar in the other. All right. Have a good night, Alex and everyone else. And we'll see you all tomorrow at 2 p.m. / 5 p.m. And credits. Bye.
Thanks for sticking around until the end. If you're new to Unsafe Space, check out our deep content library that includes discussions with everyone from James Lindsay to Brett Weinstein. And please consider helping to fund our work by visiting unsafespace.com/donate. You can find us on a variety of social media platforms, and you can find a community of like-minded individuals on our Unsafe Space Discord server, which is open to financial supporters at any level. We hope to see you there.
Warning. This is an unsafe space. Dangerous ideas have been detected. The content of this production is known by the state of California to cause unregulated ideation that may be harmful to bureaucrats. Association with the following individuals or tacos is strictly prohibited. Apropos of nothing, I was just wondering how would you feel about another pandemic? Your president is in full control of his mental faculties. If you think about it, no one should be allowed to express opinions. But don't. Think about it, I mean. That's not your job. Thinking has been scientifically proven to be less efficient than compliance. Science, scientific, and scientifically are registered trademarks of the World Economic Forum. Unauthorized use is prohibited. Computer voice courtesy. Never mind, that last line is fake news. Please disregard it and return to your safe space immediately. There will be cake.
Okay, I've got my melodica. I think Alex is probably feeding Missy, so I'm just gonna play this real quick and annoy you with it. Oh yeah, this key's sticky. These keys are so sticky. Right here, Alex. So I've got another keyboard that's sticky. You can make jokes about that in chat. That's totally fine. I've got this keyboard that's sticky and this keyboard that's sticky. Not sure why. Oh, there's Alex. I'm just playing my sticky keyboard.
Yeah, I've read the chats.
Moonlight Sonata. I can't even remember it. I can't do it with just one hand though. You really kind of need the bass with that too, though, to get the full effect. I used to play the third movement. I love it because it has the dun 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 dun. It's super fast. So I need to find that sheet music and I'll practice it again just for you. Who was that? Was that G-Man? Oh, for G-Man. Never mind. I'm not going to do that for G-Man. But okay, I'll practice Moonlight Sonata. It is really pretty. Okay, goodbye. I love you, Alex.
No.